Hey there, strangers. Welcome to Mrs. K's way of finding the measures of central tendencies. So, central tendencies happen to be ways to summarize the values of a data set in a single number. So, there's three different types. There's finding the mean, the median, and the mode. We're going to cover those three different ways of finding a single number for summarizing a whole value of data. So the first thing we're going to do is find the mean. Another way to talk about the mean is finding the average. So the mean is the same as the average of a set of data. So remember, we're summarizing a whole set of data with just one number. So for the mean, we're using the average to summarize it. So let's look at an example. This data shows the number of Instagram posts today of 6 individuals. So we have 6 different numbers: 4, 2, 3, 2, 0, and 1. Each of these are the number of posts: 4 posts, 2 posts, 3 posts, etc. So the first thing we want to do is to try to find the average of this data set. How we do that is finding it using this formula. The mean is the sum of all of the data items divided by the number of data items in the set. So if we're to look at it, the sum of all the numbers is if we took all 6 of these different numbers and we added it together, and we divide it by the number of total items, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can see right here, if we wrote it out, 4 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 0 plus 1, all divided by 6. So using our handy dandy mathematical calculators, as known as our brains, we know that 4 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 0 plus 1 would give us a total of 12, and we still have the 6 different data sets. Now you're probably wondering, what about the 0? Well, the 0 is also a data set, so we still need to incorporate him and still have him in the data. So that's why we still have 6 different values, even though 0 is one of them. So now we're going to take the 12 and we're going to divide it by the 6, and we have our total, which is equal to 2. So our final answer is the mean, or the average amount, is 2 Instagram posts a day for this set of data. The median is a little different because we're not finding the average. Instead, we're going to be summarizing the data value by using one number, which is also the middle of the data set. So let's look at an example here. This data shows the ages of a group of people who saw Spider-Man this weekend. So if you saw Spider-Man 2 this weekend, maybe you'd be part of the data set. But here's those different people. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different individuals in our data set. And the first step that we want to do is we want to put the data in order from least to greatest. We can also do from greatest to least, but I always like to go in order from smallest to largest. So we took our 12 and we put it first, then our 24, 28, 30, 36, and 41. The reason we want to do this is we want to try to find the middle of our set of data. So that leads us to our second step. So our second step is that we want to try to find the middle of the data set, or the average of the two middle values. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from the left side and the right side, and we're going to cut off one of each side because we know that that's getting towards the middle and we're making it even. So again, we're going to do one on the right, one on the left, and we're left with 2 different numbers here. So that means that we are looking for the middle of this middle set of data, right in this area right here. So that's why one of our things is either we find the middle data, if there happened to be just one number that happened to be located in the middle, that would be our median. But since we have 2 different numbers, we're going to find the average of these 2. So remember, we just found the average when we were finding our mean. So we're going to take these 2 numbers, 28 and 30, and then we're going to divide it by how many numbers there are, which there happen to be 1, 2. So we're going to add 28 and 30 and divide it by 2. 28 plus 30 happens to give us 58. 58 divided by 2 gives us our final answer of 29. So we can say our final answer is the median age of people who went to Spider-Man this weekend is 29 years old. Last but not least, One of the easier ways to summarize data is finding the mode. Another way we could talk about this is finding the most frequent. So when we're looking at our data, this right here gives us the times of different track team members when they ran the 100-meter dash. Now we have 9.8 seconds, 9.9, 10, 9.9, 10.2, and so on. If we want to organize this data, the first thing we want to do is we want to put it in order from least to greatest. We don't need to do this step, but I always think it's really nice to be nice and organized because sometimes with the more data you have, the easier it is to get lost. So what we want to try to do is try to find anything that happens more than once. So 9.8 only happens once, so we don't have to worry about him. However, we see that 9.9 happens 1, 2, 3 different times. 10 doesn't seem to happen more than once, so it can't be the most. We see that 10.1 happens twice, and 10.2 doesn't happen more than once. So now we have two different data points or data sets within our data that have occurred more than once. Now, which one is the most? Because we are looking for the most, that means that 9.9 happens to be happening 3 times, while 10.1 only happens once. So, in our second step, that was just finding the values that happen the most. Sometimes there could be more than one. If there was 3 10.1s, we would have all 10.1s and 9.9 as our mode, but for this example, 9.9 is our mode, so our final answer is the mode of this data is 9.9 seconds. I know I usually have a picture of Callie at the end of my videos, however this picture was just too cute to miss. This is Miss Woodruff and the Walrus from Six Flags sharing a sweet little kiss. I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you tomorrow.